Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is...
That Matt kid.
And Steve.
And we are here to continue Geeky Gentleman Holiday Month. Alfie picked the movie and then said, never mind. So we're just doing it without him. I never liked doing that, but it was really late notice, so we're just like, fuck it. We're just going ahead. So we're here tonight to talk about 8 Crazy Nights, the 2002 Adam Sandler animated film. I think this is like his only animated film up until he did like Hotel Transylvania, and then he started doing some more after that. So this wasn't a great experience for him for a long time. I seem to remember this not doing very well, financially speaking. Given the fact that it was on cable very quickly after release. But yeah, this is like, this is still early 2000s is really top of Adam Sandler's like era. So this might be like one of his first like disappointments on box office and stuff. I haven't done any of the research on it. I just tend to remember no one talking about this kind of not really landing for people. I watched this, I think, once back in the day. Like I said, seeing it on cable, and I liked Adam Sandler a lot at the time. And I was watching it with Haley for the first time the other night. And we get to the scene where Whitey gets thrown down the hill in a porta potty and then gets frozen in human shit. And I looked over at Haley, I'm like, yeah, this is like the worst thing I've ever seen done to a person in any film ever. Like, that's the one memory I have of this movie, is just how awful a thing that is to do to another human being.
See, that's funny, because I definitely, I caught this when I was a kid on, cable and stuff, and I had the similar sort of thing where when I was watching it, I actually watched it earlier today. I was like, oh shit, I remember this scene. I definitely saw this when I was a kid, and it was when they were at the ice rink, and is it Davey? Davey, Adam Sandler's character, when he kind of freaks out on them and tells them off, and then leaves. I remember that scene. And then when I watched it in context, I was like, oh, okay, because I'd seen bits and pieces of this, but I'd never seen the full thing, actually.
How about you, Steve? You got any history with 8 Crazy Nights?
It's funny. When it came up in the group chat, I said I'd never seen it. And then when I started watching it the other day, bits and pieces of it were coming back to me. So I feel like I did actually catch quite a bit of this at random intervals on Comedy Central, maybe before watching an episode of Futurama or something. But I never watched it all the way straight through. I remember the movie coming out. No one ever talking about it, even for the people that were really into Adam Sandler at the time. And then historically, when people talk about Christmas movies or Hanukkah movies, I guess, no one ever talks about this one either. And Adam Sandler's had kind of a bit of a resurgence lately. He's been doing a good mix of drama and comedy stuff. He just showed up in a George Clooney movie called Jay Kelly, and he's the MVP of that movie. He's really, really good in it. And right around this time, he was doing stuff like this too. He was in Punch Drunk Love right around this time. Mm-hmm. But even Adam Sandler, I feel doesn't talk about this movie, which is funny because he's a guy that doesn't seem to have any shame, right? He will make bad movie after bad movie after bad movie, but he'll talk about all of them equally. But I feel like I've never heard anyone say anything about this movie since it came out.
I think it did just underperform, and it's not like... I don't think this is a particularly good movie. I think it's weird because Adam Sandler, you know, like they put the song at the end, and that's what the title of the movie's in reference to his 8 Crazy Nights songs, or the Hanukkah songs, whatever you call them. And it's just in reference to that like really popular SNL bit. After hearing the song in the end credits of this movie, I decided to like go back and watch the original, and I was like, I realized in the end credits he says, "This is my 3rd time doing it," or whatever, and I was like, oh shit, he's done 3? And then I start watching it. As a matter of fact, he's done 4. The most recent one, the line about not Jewish, he goes, "Jared from Subway, damn it, a Jew." But so was the guy that convicted him. So that was a pretty good one. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting little film, and I don't particularly like it. It did get me giggling a little bit in some places that I guess I wasn't quite ready for. I'd forgotten some of the jokes. That is kind of funny because one of the songs from this recently, like I want to say sometime last year, kind of had some TikTok fame as one of those memes where people just like keep singing over the one part of the song over and over again. And it was "It's just not fair." And so that kind of gave it maybe a little bit of a resurgence for people.
Yeah.
But I guess to talk more just about the movie itself as opposed to the stuff around the movie, my main takeaway for this is, for it being kind of marketing itself and playing off of Adam Sandler's Jewish song, doesn't really feel like it's about Hanukkah.
No, it does not even a little bit.
That's kind of my biggest like problem with it is I remember just thinking about how weird it was as a kid, like that there wasn't anything really about Hanukkah. Like I knew what Hanukkah was in celebration of, the same way that I knew that Christmas was about the celebration of the birth of Jesus. But I still, to this day, I don't think I really understand like the true meaning of Hanukkah. And I don't think this movie like helped in that regard at all. It just kind of does become like a generic Christmas movie by the end.
I think I learned more about Judaism from The Mean One than I did. Which,
damn.
I will say this, if I can give a little general thing here. I feel personally that I owe an apology to both The Mean One and you, Ian, for defending The Mean One, because when I watched The Mean One, my thought process was just like, I just think this is not very good. I had forgotten what it is like to completely loathe something, to hate on every level that you could hate something, to loathe every single detail, no matter how small, to just loathe it all. And this movie made me remember what that feels like. And so I appreciated it for that. I hated this more than I thought it was possible to hate a movie. I want every second back that I spent watching this fucking thing. And
wow.
I remember Steve and I were even talking about it a little bit before we hopped on. Your more specific point about having nothing to do with Hanukkah is absolutely right. Because by the end of this, I have not furthered my understanding of Jewish culture or Hanukkah. I have only deepened my hatred for mankind. That we would allow this to be made.
Jesus Christ.
It's an indictment of why we're not really viable as a species.
Man, quick. What's the worst thing to happen in the early 2000s in America? Is it A, 9/11, or B, 8 Crazy Nights?
The
Or
answer
C,
might
the War on
surprise you.
Terror. It's really funny because I think that Adam Sandler has really only like he did the song for SNL, and he's done a couple other like little jokes and gags about it over the years, but he did this and he did "Don't Mess with the Zohan" as like his big statements on Jewish identity. And Matt, let me tell you, if you loathed this, "Don't Mess with the Zohan" would probably be your greatest film of all time to you.
Oh, really?
The movie in which Adam Sandler plays an Israeli black ops agent.
Oh shit! Wait. I think I've seen that one actually. I think I saw that as a kid. Cause yeah, that's the one where he like kicks the dude with both of his feet while still standing straight up.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
There's
I haven't
something
seen that in
about
forever.
Adam Sandler, just like Adam Sandler as a person is obviously not capable of any of the physical actions which any of his characters have done in any of his movies ever. But there's just something about like how boldly he will put himself as the starring character of a movie where he is just like a fantastic athlete.
Dude, fucking, are you telling me a guy in his 30s who spends all of his time drinking can like do the snowboard shit that he does in this movie on the trash can lid, or play basketball at the level that he can just because like, oh, I played basketball when I was 12. Like fucking I played basketball when I was 12. You think I'm gonna go up to the regulars at the Y and try to like dunk on him? No. Oh god.
Damn.
Well, I mean, it's not just this, right? Because he's got this, he's got Longest Yard, where he's like the greatest football player in the world. And shit, it's like it's always the same character, like Happy Gilmore, obviously. Like he just always does this, where he like casts himself and writes himself into being like this just fantastic athlete or like physical specimen. Like even, and not even like necessarily sports, like Mr. Deeds, he's just like beating the shit out of everyone. And I'm just like, I'm just saying, let him get his ass kicked.
He's sort of the anti Tom Cruise in that way, isn't he?
Yeah, you might be right.
Tom Cruise is like, oh, I want to make a movie where I fly a helicopter. I am going to learn how to fly every single helicopter in every scenario possible. Adam Sandler, you want to make a movie about basketball? Yeah, I could do that.
I don't know what it is, and like I'm not hating on Adam Sandler for that. I think it's funny. It's like, you know, when you hit it big and you kind of like figure out what your thing is, and you just kind of keep repeating the formula over and over again, it does get tedious, it does get old, but like end of the day the formula works. So, you know, is your goal to be a great artist, or is it your goal to make a successfully financial movie? And obviously his goal is to make, you know, financial success, and you know, whatever, more power to him. But this one, like in animation, kind of the other thing that I think about as I'm watching it is it doesn't really feel like it needs to be animated. Like, you know, certainly you don't necessarily have to justify your medium, but like with everything we've seen in all of the Adam Sandler movies, particularly from the ones from the early 2000s, I just don't see anything in this that like would not have been attainable for the way he made his movies back.
Well, I think the fact that it is animated is part of the joke. It's not a good joke, and I think it does it very badly, but I think part of the reason it's animated is it's sort of operating on that Shrek mentality of, we're going to make a Disney movie that has all the trappings of a Disney movie with talking or helpful woodland creatures and songs and about something universal community based like Christmas or Hanukkah, except you're going to turn on this movie and everyone is just cursing all the time and they're vomiting and it's like an R-rated comedy. I think it is trying to capture that zeitgeist we had in the early 2000s of like, all of the Shrek style animated movies where they were trying to essentially take the piss out of Disney.
I guess I just didn't get. Maybe it's just because that became so ubiquitous that it just doesn't like have any impact on me anymore. So I just didn't get any of that feeling. From
I think part of the reason though is that the kinds of Disney movies this is making fun of, I don't think exist anymore either. So that might be part of the problem.
Yeah.
Like when Shrek came out, like everyone understood that that was the joke. I can't imagine you show Shrek to a person now with no context and they get that from it. But because it came out in that era, that's sort of what everyone registered it as. I will say, I don't think this movie is quite as bad as 9/11, like Matt does.
Right, it's worse.
But it is really bad. It's kind of terrible on many fronts, and it's very confused about its identity, and it's got a lot of things going on that it never fully develops, and it's the biggest crime for this movie, honestly, is I just don't think it's very funny. It's a lot like the Mean One in that way of like I can get along with a lot of bad stuff if like the fun I'm having in the moment outweighs that, and this certainly did not. I feel like anytime I was laughing, I was sort of laughing at its expense rather than with any of the jokes. It feels like it's got no idea what it wants to be about, where it's essentially changing the plot at intervals. And Davey or Adam Sandler's character, not only is he not particularly likable, his journey by the end doesn't feel earned because everyone in the town is also just really unlikable. And then every character that we're supposed to sympathize with that isn't wholly unlikable, the movie just shits on and is mean, literally shits on, and is just mean in ways that I think at this point have aged very, very poorly. Yeah, I did not like this one bit.
Yeah. I will say, I guess I'm the one that liked it the most out of all of us, but I'm not even anywhere near where I was like last week on the Mean One. Some of the jokes just did land for me. They just were funny, and kind of the, I guess like the out of pocket nature of them just kind of surprised me and got like maybe a shock laugh. The lady with 3 boobs breastfeeding her kids at the end was pretty good to me. I like that. There was one joke that I remembered from this movie that I really liked, where they go to the mall and he has like the whole section where he talks about how great the mall is and he rhymes everything. He's like, "Did you rehearse that, or did that just all gonna happen?" Yeah, that was kind of weird, wasn't it? That's still like top 10 funniest jokes I've seen in any like just throwaway animated jokes I've seen in any. I still love just how perfect that is. Just as a gag, you could put that in any movie and I'd laugh at it. And there's just other like gags here and there that do kind of work for me. I do think though that like the biggest problem, besides being the movie about Hanukkah that apparently has nothing to do with Hanukkah, that just really, really got to me is they're trying to make Davy, like Steve said, they're trying to make his journey about this like kind of redemption arc or whatever. But he's just so fucking shit to an absurd degree that like doesn't even feel like realistic for the level of trauma that he has.
Well, and it's funny too because like the core idea that they're getting at, this idea that like you're almost exploring this. I feel like even saying these words is giving this movie too much credit, but you're almost exploring this like toxic masculine idea of like he can't let himself show those emotions, even though feeling those emotions is what actually gets him over this chip that he has on his shoulder. And I like that as a core character journey for a theoretical character to go on, but it's handled so poorly in this. The big payoff moment just does not hit, and especially when it's also him realizing that he's been shitty to a character in Whitey that the entire movie has also been incredibly shitty and unsympathetic to. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too, where you're trying to make everyone feel bad for being shitty to this guy, even though the film itself is incredibly mean-spirited to him. I got to the point where he reads the letter from his parents, and I was just like, that's it? That's like the most generic. That's like the most generic, like letter from your parents I've ever fucking read. This is what we've been building to this whole time. I don't even give a shit that his parents died. Fucking.
No, I mean, I'm with you both. I feel like the biggest problem with this movie at the end of the day is it sort of refuses to actually put Davy in any sort of situation where he has opportunities for realistic growth, because he's just so comically, not even comically would make it seem like it's funny, and it's not. He's just so absurdly a jerk about everything to such cartoonish degrees that he doesn't even let the scenario play out for him to have an opportunity to change. Like I said earlier, the big problem for this movie is I think it keeps changing what it wants to be about, because when it starts and you meet him in the Chinese restaurant and he burps in the guy's face and he has a song about being an asshole and all that, when it opens, it kind of makes you think this is sort of like a Grinch situation. This is a situation where everyone in town knows everybody, everyone is kind, and everyone gets along, and there's just this one guy, and we don't know what to do with him. And then the what's his name, Whitey, shows up and volunteers. And he's like, "No, I'll take him under my wing, and we can redeem him." And then, as that happens, every time you meet someone in town, they're basically just as much of an asshole as he is. And the situation that you've kind of predicated his character arc on, of being with Whitey and being a ref and having this opportunity to contribute to the community and be a better person, he basically never does at any point in the movie. From that point on, he's just shitting on Whitey the entire time. And every single time there's an opportunity for him to do something that like would require a character moment or a choice or something to like advance him as a person, the movie just uses as an excuse for him to be an asshole, and rarely ever as an opportunity for him to like confront any of it. And then when he does finally start confronting those emotions at the end, it's so too little, so too late, that the arc just doesn't feel earned, like Matt said, where by the time he gets to read that letter in the mall, depressed and alone, surrounded by weird neon mascots for some reason, like I just don't care.
Yeah, and
like at that point, I just don't care about him. Like, he's such a jerk. Why does this redeem him?
And it's so funny too, because there's this moment where he plays basketball with the like love interest kid, and that is a scene where I feel like the movie is starting to pick up a little bit of momentum, because like you're right that we're doing a Disney movie with like the talking animals, or not talking animals, but like the, you know, kind of we're riffing on that. But I think what this movie's also riffing on are like these generic like Hallmark holiday movies, or like Disney live action sports films. Like it's kind of riffing on that a little bit too. And I'm like, okay, so we get this scene where we're building this momentum of like, okay, so what's really going to change him is that he starts maybe mentoring this kid. Maybe he does get involved with the local youth basketball. Maybe that's his opportunity for change. And then, as you were kind of saying, they just drop that immediately. And I'm like, that's the, like, how do you get to that point in your script and not see that you're finally moving somewhere, and then drop it entirely and go in a completely different direction? And so it just keeps pulling the film in different directions to the point where you're right, it doesn't know what it like wants to actually be about.
I'm glad you brought that one up, because that's the one area of the movie where I feel like there was a lot of potential here for it to go a lot of different ways. Because he has the moment at the end of the basketball game where not only has the kid's like confidence risen, but he starts to mimic Davy's behavior. And his mom doesn't like that.
Yeah.
And he set up the mom as someone that he used to go out with, but the fact that he doesn't confront his emotions and runs away from them is why they broke up. And all of this very easy, ripe drama of like, is he having a negative impact on this person? How does his relationship to this kid sort of serve as a metaphor for his larger relationship with this woman? None of that ever goes anywhere whatsoever. It doesn't even have to go very far, right? Like, it could just be a Hallmark movie where they keep bumping into each other and having very overt conversations. But that never goes anywhere at all, to the point where, like, the fact that she came home to a kid to raise by herself, and they make a point, or Whitey makes a point about, like, how she was really brave for that, and, like, she didn't, and even though, like, she might have been ridiculed by some people, she still looked out for this kid. none of that plays into anything that happens going forward. It's like every couple of scenes, the movie tries to set up some situation that's supposed to serve as his arc, and then they drop it and introduce something else to do the exact same thing.
I mean, how easy would it have been? You can imagine the scene, right, in some metaphorical version of this movie, not metaphorical, but different version of this movie, where he sees the kid acting in a way that he would act, and it like shocks him, and he kind of sees himself through new eyes for the first time, and that's like his moment of like, you know, light bulb. That's his moment for change. It would have been generic. It would have been by the numbers, but it at least would have been a fucking actual movie. Like, it would have been something.
It would have been an arc. Yeah, I mean, as it stands, the biggest problem is just like the journey he's supposed to go on, he never actually goes on, but the movie keeps teasing you with scenes that feel like they're supposed to set that up, and then they never pay off.
I really like that if the fucking Deus Ex Machina of the thumbtack blowing up 8 bus tires didn't happen, he just would have fucking left town.
Yeah. Easy rewrite. Have him just stop the bus himself and get off. Right. That makes so much more sense. What? Like, what the fuck?
You can't even, like, credit him for his final courageous moment defending Whitey, because if he had it his way, he would have just left town.
Yeah.
He never made a choice.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No. It's one of those things that could work somehow if, like, you set up that, you know, there was just a scene of him being a shit, like, throwing the fucking thumbtacks in the road. Like, that would have made that, like, come full circle and work in a way of, like, his own shittiness, like, coming back to bite him. That could have been fine, but it's just not. It's just lazy fucking, you know, he looks up at the clouds and sees that God wants him to go back. Again, that's just not the meaning of Hanukkah, too. Like, I really want to focus on that, because that just feels, like, so wasted in this. Particularly that, like, they make a big deal out of it is Hanukkah and Christmas at the same time. They say, you know, Happy Christmas Eve, Happy Final Night of Hanukkah at the end. And that's, like, that's all well and good, but it's just, I just feel like that's such a missed opportunity that, like, Adam Sandler is very clearly aware of, and his name's all over the script. It's not like he just, you know, lended his brand and his formula to this. His name's all over the script. He helped write every song. He is the first writer credit under every song for this. He is listed as the first writer credit when you get to the credits of the movie. So just, like, I've watched Adam Sandler movies, and none of them are quite as bad as this. I just don't know where he dropped the ball on it, and I just don't understand why there isn't more of a focus on the Hanukkah thing when, like, the whole point of the Hanukkah song is being a kid, you kind of feel left out, and, like, your holiday doesn't really mean anything, or your religion isn't, like, you don't feel represented. Again, as a kid, that was something that was so odd to me, is I remember, like, the Rugrats did a Hanukkah episode, and, like, that was it. I never saw literally any other representation for it, and I just found it odd. I'm like, well, why isn't there? And
does it?
I don't know.
Does it? Would it not have made more sense to make Whitey Jewish and have, like, Davey learn his lesson through learning about Hanukkah from him? Like, I just.
Well, unfortunately, because I don't think the lesson of Hanukkah is don't be a dick.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember the name of the comedian, but I remember just years ago watching, like, Comedy Central Presents, some guy doing stand-up, and he was just talking about, like, Hanukkah's just such a boring holiday compared to Christmas, and so all the Jewish kids have, like, Christmas envy. And he like, literally name-dropped Adam Sandler. Is like, oh, Adam Sandler goes, yeah, but we get 8 crazy nights of presents. I've never met a single fucking Jewish family that did 8 nights of presents. You get to, like, night 3, and it's just boring, and everyone's done with it.
I don't know, man. Like, that one kid, the kid got a fucking Game Boy Advance on, like, night 4 or some shit. Right? Good for him.
Yeah, but, like, it was just so funny because he keeps going on this bit, and he's like, and part of it's just, just Christmas is just so much cooler. It's just got so much more going for it. What's Christmas about? It's about the birth of your Lord on earth from a virgin. What's Hanukkah about? We had some fucking extra oil. It's just... it was really funny to see someone just, like, you know, kind of say the quiet part out loud of, like, you don't want to be disrespectful, but, like, you do kind of hear about it as, like, growing up. You're like, really? That's what the holiday to correspond to Christmas is about? You're like, what? So it's just, I don't know, like, but honestly, I would like to see something that is more respectful and that like tries to make a genuine effort of, like, well, why is this a thing that's celebrated? What is the true meaning of Hanukkah? And it feels like if anyone had, like, the political capital to do that in Hollywood, it would have been Adam Sandler, and to have this come out and be such just a fucking dud just feels like such a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's simultaneously like ask 100 people, top answers on the board, name a famous Hanukkah movie. 99 people said 8 Crazy Nights. Like, you know, it's like it is the Hanukkah movie that people know about. I
literally could not name a second one.
I
could name the Rugrats special.
Hanukkah special.
Yeah,
exactly.
Rugrats Hanukkah.
And yet it has nothing to do with it. Like, it's...
Yeah, let me see. So I got 8 Crazy Nights, Rugrats Hanukkah special, and that one Tom King Sergeant Rock story that blew everyone's mind when someone with, like, 2 seconds worth of media analysis revealed that it was a Hanukkah story. Those are all the Hanukkah specials I know.
I have learned more about Hanukkah from Hartman making fun of Jewish people in South Park than I did from this movie. I need a list. I need a list of things I learned more about Hanukkah from than this fucking Hanukkah movie. The Mean One, South Park, the Rugrats. I'm sure there's more.
Oh
man. So here's the other thing, I guess, while we're at it. Even if it wants to be about Hanukkah, even if it wants to, like, explore that holiday more, it's really hard to get on board with any of that, because it seems like even outside of Davey, it's a movie that doesn't really seem to have any sympathy for anybody at any point. And even in celebration, it's kind of making fun of people. To a certain extent, you really do have to, like, just accept the fact that a lot of comedies are going to age poorly, and that a lot of early 2000s comedies specifically are just going to be offensive by modern standards. And that's fair, and that's fine, that's whatever. But I feel like in 2025, if we're going to talk about it, we probably should also mention, hey, there's a lot of stuff in here that's also just, like, mean. And I don't even understand the joke anymore, because we are so far removed from the fat phobia and the ableism and all the stuff that it seems to delight in. Matt, you and I were talking about this earlier. This movie really hates fat people. Like, it just despises them. And there is this one scene where, like, he makes fun of that one kid playing basketball to the point where he cries. Then he says something else to make him cry again. And then he shows up a third time in the mall trying on a bra where someone comes at him and he's like, "Aren't you a boy?" And then he runs away crying again. That third joke, like, I don't even get that third joke at this point. Like, why do you have to do that? Come on now.
I try very hard to, like, not be the millennial who's, like, calling everything offensive or whatever, because, like, it's
exhausting.
It can be exhausting and reductive, but, like, I feel that I would be remiss if I did not mention that I was just genuinely offended by a lot in this movie. Like, the amount of, like, jokes just that, like, people are fat and that's the joke, or, like, Rob Schneider doing the, like, Asian voice.
Oh my god, like, I didn't even think about that.
I was just like, oh man, this is rough. Like beyond just being not funny, because I'll be honest. I don't think a single joke landed for me at all. But a lot of that is because the movie just consistently kept me pissed off. So anytime a joke that maybe would have landed in a different movie hit me, I was just like stone faced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that was because I was just like, man, we're starting with Rob Schneider doing this like really offensive Asian voice. Like we are not starting off on a good foot, and like a belching joke. I'm just like, you've started off on the worst possible foot with me. And so I'm just not even, I almost feel like I'm not even giving the movie a chance, but I also feel like the movie never deserves a chance. So yeah. No, this movie hates fat people for sure.
Yeah, it hates fat people. I was a little shocked that they really worked their way in just to get a trans joke in there for the mayor.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, they don't even, it's not even like at her expense, it's just, my wife used to be a man, but that was long ago. Like, oh, okay then. Good for her? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
very progressive town when you think about it. Jewish, really, like, proud Jewish population. The mayor's, in the early 2000s, the mayor's, like, apparently openly married to a trans woman. Maybe, like, maybe they just have this weird thing where they all agree to just be openly mean to each other, and it just works, and so none of them actually feel offended or, like, unsafe because all of the just open hatred is out there. I don't know.
There you go. I feel like it also has this problem that a lot of comedies have where it's like, there's not really a straight man. Like, every single character is this, like, wild, exaggerated caricature who is trying to be the funny thing that's on screen right now. And there's never, like, anyone who's able to react to this and just kind of be that audience stand-in straight character for those people to play off of. So it just becomes, like, loud and obnoxious in a way that a lot of bad comedies are, where it's never able to, like, breathe to let the jokes hit you. It just is this throwing shit at the wall constantly. In some cases, literal shit at the wall, which is unfortunate because those jokes are just never gonna hit for me because I just can't stand them.
Don't like bathroom humor.
I really don't. Like, just, I don't even try to be, like, prudish about it, because I know a lot of people do, and I'm just like, whatever. But, like, oh man, when it comes to just the style of humor that is present here, I don't think you could have found something that is more, like, polar opposite to what I enjoy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just sitting there waiting for that scene to happen, and you know, like, he gets pushed down the hill in the porta potty, and Haley goes, oh, gross, and I look at her and go, it's gonna get worse. And then the getting frozen in shit thing happens, and I look at her and just, this is the worst thing I've ever seen happen to a character in anything. Like, I have seen, like, fucking Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees do nicer things to people. I just can't imagine a fucking worse fate than just being frozen. Because, like, it's early in the morning when that happens to him, and the deer don't come until nighttime, so he should probably just be dead. Being, like, literally frozen that long. But, like, can you imagine a worse way to die? Because he's still, like, conscious as it happens.
And see, that's part of the thing where, like, you do that early enough in the movie where he's already jumped the shark, I feel like, Davey, by that point. Like, you throw him in a porta potty, let him fall down, hose him down so he's frozen. You get this transition where he's been there all day. Like, after that, how am I ever supposed to like this guy?
Well, that's what's so funny to me, because, like, when you see that scene, I remember thinking into my head, I was like, okay, this has got to be it. This has got to be what makes Whitey finally, like, kind of give up on him.
Yeah.
But no, they play it like he's just like, oh, that was annoying that I had to deal with that. But, oh, well, we're all back to normal the next day. I'm like, dude, I would kill that motherfucker. Are you serious?
That's the crazy part, is, like, you show that, and then, like, you show the scene where they actually, you know, break ties for a bit, like the big breakup moment of the movie, and it's like, objectively, the shit was way worse. There's just no way. I guess it's just his sister wasn't there for that one, but like, man.
And it goes back to Matt, your point about there not being a straight man, where like everyone is reacting to comically absurd things in comically absurd ways.
Mhm.
So it just makes it hard for any of those moments to ever feel like there should be real drama there or any sort of character stakes to them. It's almost like in an action movie where the dialogue scenes and the action scenes are operating in different realities, where like a Zack Snyder movie where like the character can say one thing and go on this journey, and then the very next action scene completely disregards that arc, but that's okay because that's the action scene. That's a little bit like what goes on here, where it feels like
I wonder what movie Steve's talking
about. So basically, so you're saying the toilet scene is the warehouse fight from BVS. Got it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
understood.
Exactly.
Thanks for breaking that down with the metaphor.
It's exactly that level of like the actual drama these characters are having is so minuscule that it seems like it completely disregards the entire surrounding context of the movie. And I think the love interest is a really good microcosm of this, because the love interest never gets to be involved in any of the jokes. She's never the butt of any of the jokes, and she's never like the person who introduces any of the jokes. So because she doesn't get a part to play in any of the comedy, none of the drama for her matters at all. And by the time they like reconcile, I guess, at the end, they've shared like 2 scenes of dialogue with each other, and he never actually did anything in the interim to like explain himself to her or those two to have an argument. Like, so much of that stuff is just assumed and thrown in as a cliche, but it's because all of that stuff feels like it's operating on a different genre reality than the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Like you're never just like, oh, now we're supposed to take this seriously.
Right, exactly. The movie is so bad at like switching those gears that you never really have a clue of like what's actually supposed to matter.
Yeah.
Also, anytime I'm just gonna completely derail us for a minute. Anytime Adam Sandler does the voices for Whitey and Whitey's sister, I want to fucking stab my eardrums. Like, I just. Oh
I
my God.
guess I didn't even think to look at the credits for who was voicing Whitey.
So Adam Sandler, he does all 3 of those characters. I think he does one other thing in this, because I looked it up. I was like, I didn't know for sure.
To blame.
Well, I was like, I bet money that he's the one who's voicing all these characters, and it turns out I was right. But like, oh my God, anytime he spoke, like I remember when they're in the courtroom scene and the first time Whitey walks in and starts speaking, and I was just like, oh no, like I don't want to listen to this for an hour and a half. Like, I just don't.
And then somehow it gets a little bit worse with the sisters introduced too.
Yeah, and then
And
then it somehow gets worse. And it's weird how, like, is it weird that like they make a point that, I don't know, the Whitey and his sister are not Jewish? Like, they make a point to say that, but they're kind of Jewish stereotypes in a way.
Yes.
Also, like, that's weird. But I don't know what to do with that, but it's weird.
Like Whitey less so, but definitely his sister. Like, her archetype feels very like Jewish coded and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's not great. That being said, that's a technical foul. That I like that song. That would crack me up a little bit.
See, I would have enjoyed that song more if the movie was actually about basketball in any measurable regard.
Exactly.
I remember that one scene where they play basketball. Okay, bye.
I actually completely forgot or didn't even know this was a musical until he started singing the first song, and I was like, oh no. Like multiple times, like at this movie, I was like, oh no. And I remember I was like, I looked up, I was about to look up if they got a voice double to do the singing, and I was like, well, no, they didn't, because if they did, the singing would be good. So clearly they didn't. Clearly that's just Adam Sandler. But
well, I mean, it would be weird to do it, since again the movie's like riffing off of his arguably most famous song. I mean, I've not heard anyone else bust out like fucking Lunch Ladyland. Um,
Yeah. Well, it's just there's a difference between doing like fun, light comedy music and then like trying to actually be like, all right, here's my like big opening solo song in a musical. Like there's like it's like listening to what is it? Fucking is it Gerard Butler and Les Mis? Like Gerard Butler can sing, but not in the way that he's being asked to sing in that movie. So like same thing with Adam Sandler here. Like the guy clearly can sing, he just can't for what they're asking. Because I found all of the music in this to be horribly written and executed, and the technical foul might be the one song that's kind of at least got a decent little through line and hook to it, and the rest of them are so utterly unmemorable. And at least for me.
Did you mean Russell Crowe or Hugh
Yes.
Jackman? Okay, Russell
Yes.
Crowe. Okay.
I'm sorry. No, you know what? No, let me. No, let me. No. Okay, let me. I'm not gonna change the actor. Let me change the movie. Gerard Butler and Phantom of the Opera.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Let me change the. I get him confused with Russell Crowe. I don't know.
I'm just sitting there like, wait, no, I can't just let this one go. This is bothering me.
No, that's fair. Well, that's what like Steve and I were talking about this, and he was talking about the guy who shows up at the end, who's got like the hook for the hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, the guy who's just an obvious stand-in for Rob Schneider. And then I thought about it for 2 seconds, and I was like, no, the other guy, John Lovitz. That's it.
Yeah. John Lovitz.
As far as jokes that I did actually laugh at, that's a good segue into it, because I thought the guy with the hook for a hand was a funny gag. That was funny.
Ever wipe with the wrong hand?
I thought that was good. But no, yeah, absolutely. I think the songs are a good microcosm of that larger problem of the movie doesn't really know what it wants to be, because the thing with like musicals is, if you want to make a musical, then the character arcs have to kind of flow through the songs, that people discover who they are or say who they really truly are or confront problems or come to realizations through the songs. In bad musicals, they're kind of just like gimmicks. They're basically just there to exist to have a song, but they're not actually advancing the emotions or the characters or the themes of the movie. This is one of those cases where like the movie's got so many competing identities that it feels like none of the songs kind of gel with each other, and none of the songs feel like they're in the right place or in the right movie. The song in the abandoned mall with all of the actual existing mascots for entities, which we can talk about here in a second.
Yes.
That's a really weird song, because number one, I don't think the movie does a really good job of conveying what exactly prompts him to have that breakthrough in that moment. And then number two, it feels like if the point of the song is to get Adam Sandler or Davey to read the letter and confront his emotions, I don't really understand thematically or narratively, why does the mascots of the mall have to be the one to do it? Because the only opinion he had about the mall in the whole movie is that he hates the mall. If any character was going to have that song, why wasn't it Whitey?
Yeah. No, it's weird, the like mall existing as this like corporate product placement kind of thing. There's potential for that to maybe get your product placement, but also talk about the problems with like consumerism around the holiday being more of a problem that like gets you away from the true meaning of Hanukkah or Christmas.
Sure.
Like, you could see a version of 8 Crazy Nights that, a completely like ground up rewrite where the like you have like 2 Jewish families competing to give each other the best gifts and like getting give their kids the best gifts and like getting caught up in the consumerist race as opposed to, actually celebrating what the fuck the holiday means. And trying to like get down to the idea of Hanukkah itself as opposed to getting caught up in, American consumerism. And that'd be a good way to like, get your corporate sponsor, but actually do an anti-corporate message. That could be cool. But, we just don't get that. Instead we get, the fucking GNC steroid pills, singing about "You Need to Cry."
and about how much he wants to fuck the lingerie at Victoria's Secret.
Right? Which is just like, you know, setting something in a mall. It's at least a clever way to get money for product placement. I don't hate that idea. You know,
it's also refreshing just to see real brands in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. He when they've got that scene of Whitey talking about all the brands at the mall, and he's just like, "Oh, you've got Sbarro, and you've got, you know, Foot Locker, and fucking whatever." There's
Radio Shack.
There's a
yeah, Radio Shack. Oh, I miss Radio. I miss
Radio Shack was the best.
It reminded me of this is another tangent, but whatever, fuck it. It reminded me of there's this Star Wars book called Black Spire that takes place in the like Galaxy's Edge at Disney World. It takes place at that location on that planet. And I only read it because the person who wrote Black Spire, it's a sequel to their previous Star Wars book, technically, and because it has the same main characters, and I really liked that book, so I was like, all right, I guess I'll pick up Black Spire and read it. There's a whole fucking chapter that's just like a local walking the main character around Black Spire Outpost and being like, yes, and we have, you know, Ronto roasters, and you can go to Savi's workshop if you need something worked on, and I'm just like, this is just an ad for Disney World. You're just listing all the places you can go in Star Wars land in Disney World. Like, why? It's a whole chapter. And that's what I couldn't get out of my head during that scene.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded it, but like, I don't know, man. There's something about the mascots coming back in what's supposed to be like the penultimate emotional climax that just feels like, I want to say gross, especially because of all the gross things in this movie. That is hardly the grossest, but it's just like, come on, fucking really?
Well, no, it definitely feels gross in the sense that it contributes to this idea of we don't really get behind Adam Sandler's character or his arc at all because we don't understand why this is the thing that's causing him to confront his emotions. And if it is the thing that's causing him to confront his emotions, then it feels like the whole sort of thing that he's hinged on is either not that interesting or not as dramatic as we've been led to believe up to that point. Yeah. And just everything about that song, about like that almost like surreal quality of having a mental breakdown in an abandoned mall where all of the corporate logos are telling you things, it sort of seems like if you were going to make a song in this movie, the point of it should almost be the exact opposite of what it ends up being.
Yeah.
Like, if you were gonna have a song about him denying his feelings, then that would be the way to do it, no?
Yeah, like all the, like, you could easily see a movie where he's like, all of the trappings of the mall and all the consumerism is like the thing that he's using to like get away from dealing with his feelings. And in a better movie, I feel like the song that you get at the emotional climax is either Whitey or the like love interest Jennifer. Maybe it's like a solo for her where she like finally breaks through to him because she's the one who's like willing to see the humanity underneath. It's like at every conceivable turn, I feel like I could write a better film. And that's never a good position for a movie to be in, I'll be honest with you.
It's always a bad sign when you spend a long time talking about a movie and what you would have done instead.
Why is a movie called 8 Crazy Nights not framed with some sort of like framing device where like you start like every 20 minutes? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where it's like 8 nights of like a family gathering, and like every 20 minutes is a new night, and we see the progression. Like what?
That would have required a writer, Matt.
I just can't with this movie. I'm losing my ability to speak coherently.
It's weird because
movie is breaking me.
It's so formulaic to everything else Adam Sandler does, but it just fails in ways that none of his other movies, I think, ever have. At least not as spectacularly. You know, like I'm not gonna sit here and like say Mr. Deeds is like a work of like top tier cinema, but like I know people legitimately. I've seen people like cry to the ending of Click. You know, like
Yes, yeah. I was about to say, Click at least manages to like stick the landing for what it's going for.
Yeah,
For sure.
and it's just I don't know, and like those movies come out. Mr. Deeds, I think, came out the same year as this, and Click, I want to say, came out in '04, so a couple years later. But like all of those just do so much better. And maybe like he learned some painful lessons with this movie, and learned to like spend a little bit more time on the script and the humanity and like actually make people care. Because I guess if you look at like Gorda's characters before this versus after this, because like obviously you got like Billy Madison, who's just a bit of like a big dumb idiot jerk. I don't think you could make Billy Madison today. I don't think people have enough sympathy for rich characters. I don't think you can get away with it today. Or Mr. Deeds for that matter, but like that's a different one. That's like, you know, rags to riches. So, but like Billy Madison is just, I'm rich and I just want to live off of my dad's money. I don't think you can get away with that today.
That's definitely not happening.
But like, so like Billy Madison, he's a bit of a jerk. Is Happy Gilmore of the '90s, or is that still?
Happy Gilmore is the 90s, yeah.
Okay, so like Happy Gilmore is a bit of a jerk, bit of an asshole. He's got like a rage problem, but like he still cares about someone, and he's got a rage problem, but he like gives a shit about someone and is doing something for someone else. So like that works better, and I guess he just like forgot how to write that kind of character for this. I don't know. Like he tries to give you this reveal of just like how tragic it is. Like the night that should have been his greatest accomplishment, his parents weren't there for because they fucking died. And it's like, man, yeah, that is really tragic. But also, you gave me this after I saw you like freeze a human being into a poopsicle, and I don't think I could ever forgive anyone for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Freddy Krueger wouldn't even think of some shit like that, man. I'm sorry.
I would rather have my head dunked in liquid nitrogen and then smashed on the table in Jason X than go through that.
and then the fucking deer show up at the end and they still got shit in their mouth from licking him clean. Oh god.
Yeah, no, that's rough.
Jesus. Yeah.
That was a rough movie. It's a rough movie.
It really is.
I think the one, because you had mentioned this earlier, I'll say mine real quick. The one joke, and I do mean the one, the singular joke that got even the faintest whiff of a chuckle out of me was when they were at the banquet, and the mayor or whatever he says something like, "Who's ready for Christmas?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, woohoo!" And then he's like, "And who's celebrating the whatever night of Hanukkah?" And there's like one table that just goes like, "Yeah." I was like, all right, that's pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. But because that's following immediately the whole bit where like he tells the shitty knock knock joke, and the joke is that everyone in town is laughing really hard because they want the mayor to like him, and we cut to the deer outside, and they are just like aggressively shitting, and I'm just like, no, I can't. This movie is trying to kill me.
It's funny because there's so much stuff that happens in this movie that I swear I knew because I watched it. But I feel like every time you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I have already started repressing it.
The joke where the police officer rounds the corner and the deer have all formed I guess not a human pyramid, but a deer pyramid to like to block them from seeing him. That should be really funny. That should be hilarious. But there's something about the timing, and then the cop's delivery where he's just like, "Oh, nothing, just a deer pyramid," and then walks away. There's something about the execution of that joke just doesn't hit, because that should be hilarious. But I wonder if some of it is like, because we were talking about how like this seems to be worse than even some of his worst stuff, and I wonder if part of it is because it is animated. Like I wonder if he just got very excited about the fact that it's animated, so he was just like, oh, we can go all out. You know, we can make Whitey and his sister these like 4 foot nothing weirdos with like bum legs, and we can like have deer do stuff that we wouldn't be able to get them to do in live action. Like I wonder if part of it is just really overindulging in what he can get away with because it's animated, and then it just kind of loses any semblance of like a coherent narrative in that process. I mean, I don't know.
I think you're definitely onto something, but then I feel like the reason I didn't think of that initially is because I feel like it's so visually right, like
Right, because it's visually
it's
just an animated Hallmark movie.
yeah, exactly. Like that would make so much sense to me if they were trying to like do ridiculous shit like Looney Tunes behavior. Like Joss Whedon always made the joke of like in comics you don't have a budget, so like the first issue of Buffy season 5, people are like dangling off of helicopters breaking into a mall because you don't have to bother paying for that stuff.
Yeah.
If that's what he was trying to do, he did not do it convincingly. It doesn't seem like he cares that it's an animated movie. Outside of just like that very obvious comparison of like, it's like a Disney movie except it's crude.
Just trying to imagine like what the live action cast would look like for this, because you could have Rob Schneider voice a Chinese character or a Japanese or Chinese character in the early 2000s, but you could not have gotten away with him playing one. So I'm just trying to like, who would you cast for that? And then I'm like, Whitey would probably be like fucking Vern Troyer or something.
Oh God! Oh, don't put that out there.
Who's the guy from Community, the Spanish teacher? I feel like he probably would have been in this.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, his star hadn't really risen yet though. Like he got
That's
popular
true.
like late 2000s, because like I think his first like big breakout role was in like The Hangover. So I don't know. That'd be a harder one. I don't know who you'd get, but it's just this is just what I'm thinking of now. I was like, who would play this? Who would do this? Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry that we shit on the one Hanukkah movie. So the anti-Semitic like rumors, I guess, have just been confirmed. Gentleman is a fully anti-Semitic show.
Yeah, I'm not sorry. Do better, all Jews.
If anyone does know like a good Hanukkah movie, because I've called it Holiday Month because I legitimately would be interested in talking about stuff that's not just Christmas movies. It's not my like I'm not religious anyway, so Christmas doesn't really matter to me like in and of itself. It's just the winter season, holiday season. So I'd be interested if anyone's got any like good Hanukkah movies they could recommend in the comments. Please do. I'd be interested in checking something else out. But as is, this was terrible. Keyword good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do ratings. I'll go first. I'll give this movie 3. Not even that. I'll give this movie 2.5 out of 5. Giant sculptures of the menorah next to Santa Claus that I feel would only piss everybody off.
You're not wrong.
Like in reality, like it seems like something a town would do to try to like celebrate all the people, and it just feels like the thing that would get everybody angry. To put like actual symbol of religion next to holiday mythology, I think like no one would be happy about that.
Mm-hmm. I'll give it. I don't know what the lowest is on this scale. I'll give it half a star out of 5. I don't even know. Fucking trailers. The mobile home trailers on fire. Half those. I can't.
I'll give it 1 out of 5 seizures, but this time it's a good one.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I forgot about that.
That's so bad, dude.
Oh my god.
It's bad in ways I hadn't even talking about it.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, okay then. Well, we'll be back next week with something else. We'll see what it is. Find out next time on Geeky Gentleman Z. Until then, I'm the philosopher.
Fuck you, Alfie.
Goddamn.
And I'll keep with my thing from last time. I'll be the Luddite.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
Damn.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!